Good morning. Anybody out there? This is our second week of Rhythms with Purpose. And we started it just because we're all in this quarantine and thought maybe through this it'd be one way to connect and encourage each other and take a deep breath. And so I'll give everybody a few minutes. Good morning, Emily. Hi, Jamie. Hi, Jen. Listen, did anybody love Easter drive-in service? I know not everybody probably made it out and could do it. I loved it. I sat in the car by myself, and I won't tell you how many Chipotle napkins I used on my face crying. And I ended up sitting in the very back. It was just fun to see everybody. I didn't expect that type of reaction from me. Hi, guys. I don't know if you guys felt that way when they started singing. Oh my goodness. It was pretty neat. I was excited. I was impressed with our church. Glad to be part of it. Just even seeing the people when we pulled in, the parking people, like to see real people that we know and love and share life with. It was pretty fun. I was excited. So, we're sitting in a different room this morning if you got to watch last week. This is my dining room. I would say it's my other favorite room. I have a table, I'm going to see if I can show it to you, that has 7 leaves that I got at an auction. Don't look at my pitiful plants that need replanted. I told Matt it needed restained and reworked, and I told Matt I wanted all the leaves a different shade, stained a different shade. He thought I was crazy, but that's okay. I did it anyway. He helped me do it, and I love it. So it gets bigger than what it is, but pretty much this is one of my favorite rooms. I know in the culture today and styles change, but in my house it's like rooms. Everything's kind of roomed off. My sister's house is not like that at all. But I love the fact that when we come in this room, I don't have to look at the dirty dishes or think about the mess I made fixing dinner or worry about what's on TV or anything. We just sit here, and it ends up being the room we talk and talk. So thought I should, and the hutch you see behind me, hutch kind of thing, whatever you want to call that, with all my dishes on it from Goodwill, my favorite store. Titus and my dad made it. It's my favorite. Don't ask why. I mean, it looks like it was something found in a barn, and that's exactly how I want it, and I like it. So, and my dishes, those are the dishes we use every day, though. I leave them sitting there, and we use them. I mean, why not, right? We're not promised tomorrow, so I enjoy them. So, anyway, I thought I'd share one of my favorite rooms. So last week we started talking about one habit. How'd we do? Did you guys do all right? Before I tell you how I did, bear your secrets. No, just kidding. We talked about habits or rhythms. We could exchange those words. A rhythm shapes our world. It's something that we do over and over and over again without even thinking. Actually, 40% of our actions every day are from habits, rhythms, things we don't even think about. And our habits form us more than we form them. And our habits shape our life. And they shape our heart. And last week, the first rhythm we talked about trying to set in place that we were supposed to practice was kneeling prayer 3 times a day, morning, midday, and evening. How'd you do? We talked at the end of the little time last week about it. We didn't have to feel spiritual. We didn't have to know what we were saying and have all these big elaborate words. It was just a time to be like, okay, God, I'm here on my knees. We talked about kneeling because one way to take hold of our thoughts and our mind is to take hold of our body. So when my body was kneeling, I actually focused better. I did see that. Prayers are words, and words are seeds. And God created the world with words. And because of that, the next thing he did, he gave Adam the power of words. He said, okay, now Adam, you go name the animals and put the world in order. So our words create realities. So when we pray, it does make a difference. So how'd you do? Anybody gonna admit how they did? Okay, some days I did great. Some days it was marvelous. The midday one's the hardest one for me to get. I don't do it at the same time, but there is no real rhythm and pattern in my life these days. But some days where challenging things would come up or something would happen with the kids or, just anything, be like, oh, I can go get on my knees and pray, and I'll just leave it right there. Some days were great. Other days were a little bit difficult. It's not become exact habit for me. I don't know if it has for you guys, but I appreciate it. I'd crawl into bed, cover up, and I usually pray, cover up, laying there and thank the Lord for the day and go through my stuff. But this week I'd cover up and be like, I got to get back out of bed and pray on my knees. And it's good. It's helped me. It's helped me just focus more. I hope it's helped you guys too. And I'm going to keep doing it. So I challenge you to keep doing it. Oh, look. Veronica said midday is the easiest because it's when her son takes a nap. That's perfect. That's easy. That's nice. You have a little reminder like, it's quiet. I get to go do that. When my kids were little, that would be the time I'd read my Bible. I didn't do it in the morning. I'd wait till everybody took a nap. Then that's what I would do. But that's a good, anything that reminds us and works for our schedule. All right, you ready for this rhythm? Maybe? Okay. The one for this week. Now listen, I went back and forth. Now I'll do this, do that. It doesn't sound real spiritual, but I'll explain it to you. The rhythm for the day, for this week, rhythm number 2, we're going to try to work on this week, is make your bed and do the dishes. Some of us probably already do that. Some of us have a harder time. Some of us in this crazy world of shelter in place might be losing it on the dishes end because there's nonstop dishes depending on our life and our family and what's happening. But I want us to realize that the kind of spiritual life and disciplines we need for to sustain our Christian life are the quiet, repetitive, and ordinary things that we do every day. Now let me explain. Often we hate monotony, don't we? We hate doing the same thing the same way every day, every week. I know people who fix every Monday, they fix chicken. Every Tuesday, they fix tacos. Every Wednesday, they fix. That would drive me crazy. I mean, I like a menu, I like a plan, but the monotony of it would drive me crazy. Matt will say sometimes, hey, that's a good meal, fix it. And every 2 weeks, why don't you do that same thing every 2 weeks? I'm like, every 2 weeks, I think I'd get tired of it, I don't like the monotony of things. And life is full of that. Dishes in the sink. How often? Kids asking the same questions over and over again. Fixing breakfast, fixing lunch, fixing dinner. Get up, pack the lunch, do it again. Dinner, laundry. How many times? I wonder if anyone's ever counted, how many times do we fold the same pair of shorts? Or how many times do we fold the same pair of socks? Have you ever wondered that? I mean, really, that is monotonous and that gets old if you think about it. I sweep my floor. I don't even want to know how many times. I love my floor. It's the floor I wanted, but it's dark and it's shiny. So it doesn't just show dirt. I thought it would cover up the dirt. No, it shows footprints. Like, if you touch your finger to a window or your hands touch a window and you see kind of like the grease fingerprint. Oh, my floor shows that. It's great. Don't ever get this floor, okay? I like it when it's mopped, but other than that, I don't. It gets old. I don't like the monotony of it every day or twice a day. But, in our life, don't we love the epic moments? We love the championship games. Forget the practices, right? We love the big travel to grand destinations. We love looking forward to another vacation. Something fun on the weekend, going out with family or friends when we could, and we will get to, right? It's those things that we post on social media, really. It's the fun, different kind of things happening that we love and long for. If I'm home doing dishes, cleaning my house, doing my old normal thing, and a friend calls up and says, hey, you want to run, if I can? I'm like, oh, yes. I could walk away from all the crazy of dishes and home and monotony and go do something fun, because that's what we crave and what we long for. But right now, especially right now, we're stuck in the monotony of day after day after day. We don't like to sit still. We don't like to do the same thing over and over. I don't mind cooking, but I kind of, like last night, it was a crazy kind of day here at this house. And I was like, if I could just go to a restaurant and eat, that would just make it all better. Matt was my washer. did something crazy. Water was gushing all over my basement floor. It was marvelous. So then I used all my towels to dry up the water. All the towels from 3 bathrooms. Insane. Then lunch settles down. Start my dishwasher. 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, I start to unload the dishwasher before I'm fixing dinner. Oh, my dishwasher didn't work. It's just been one of those crazy, crazy days. And when Matt was trying to fix it, I looked at him and I said, I think I might have to leave. I don't know where I'm going. I might just have to go somewhere because it was a crazy kind of day. And it was all the same old normal things. It wasn't anything crazy and fun. You know, there's a sign that was on some church building that said, everyone wants a revolution, but no one wants to do the dishes. Isn't that true, though? For all of us. But we cannot get to the revolution or the spiritual change in our life without first learning to do the dishes. So, like we talked about, we always want to skip the boring daily stuff. We want the edgy faith. You know, Alfred Hitchcock said that movies are life with the dull bits cut out. And that's kind of what we see on social media a lot. We see the pretty pictures. We see the, how many of you on Instagram or Facebook posted Easter pictures of you and your family and your sweet kids or, you know, whatever. The sweet moment. Oh, someone egged someone's house, put for their kids. And yet there was one Instagram post from this lady I follow, and her picture was a picture of her sink full of dirty dishes. And I really almost cried because I was like, oh, I wanted a family picture. It didn't happen because we were busy with the routine things, doing all these not fun things, just the mundane things that had to be done. But what if, just think about it, what if all the boring, mundane parts matter to God? What if days passed in ways that feel small and very insignificant to us are weighty with meaning and part of the abundant life that God has for us? What if? What if our long, quiet afternoons, because our kids aren't home or our kids are grown, feels like it's not important? You know, you see these women on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, that serve God, speak at all these conferences, write books, or we have missionaries coming to our church, and we think, oh, look at what they do for Jesus. Well, I can give, but that's all I can do. You know, I am just a mom. Some of us have a job. Some of us don't. Some of us have raised our kids. And what is our purpose? We spend all of our time doing the mundane things and feel as if it's not important. But I'm here to tell you that doing the dishes and making our bed matters to God. And in days like this, where we're stuck doing the mundane and that's the only option we have, I think we need to be reminded of that. If you've got your Bible, and you may not, I'm going to tell you in 1 Chronicles 9, I've been reading through Chronicles, and some of you might be too. I use the Proverbs 31 First 5 app. Love it, love it, love it. But it's a free app, by the way. They're going through Chronicles right now, 1 Chronicles. And in 1 Chronicles 9, the chronicler starts writing of all these people with all of their names of these menial jobs. Okay? So, verse 19, I'm not going to read it all. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the names, but it says, so-and-so was over the work of the service, keepers of the gate of the tabernacle. There's another person in charge of keeping the entry door. Verse 21, it said, this guy, Zechariah, the son of somebody, is the porter of the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. So there's all these different doors, and each one has one job. This guy has the door of the entryway. This guy has the door of the congregation. Verse 22, these were chosen to be porters of the gates. So he has to take care of the gates. Verse 26, these 4 people are over the chambers and treasuries of the house of God. That might seem like a little bit of a more important job over the money and the things that are stored there. Look, verse 27, it says, these people, they were in charge of opening every morning the door that pertained to them. They had to do it every morning. Talk about monotonous and mundane. And that's all they did. They opened that door every morning. Verse 28, certain of them had the charge of the ministering vessels. So somebody was in charge of washing the dishes. Someone was in charge of keeping all the vessels that they used for sacrifices and incense and worship, keeping them clean. Verse 29, some of them also were appointed to oversee the vessels and the instruments of the sanctuary. Some were appointed to do the fine flour, the wine, the oil, the frankincense, and the spices. I mean, they had these little unimportant jobs. They weren't the priest offering the sacrifices. They weren't the high priest going into the Holy of Holies. They swept the floor. They did the dishes. They unlocked the doors. Look, the one I think is pretty cool, verse 31. Mattathiah, I'll guess at that name. He had the set office over the things that were made in the pans. Now listen, that would be the job I would want. If he's the baker, I want to bake, and I'd be baking brownies, not just bread with no taste. And I'd try, but all within limits, right? But do you see that God obviously thought it was important enough to mention all these people by name and all their little jobs? I wasn't Sandy Mills on Sunday morning that got up and sang for Easter. I wasn't Rebecca Baggs. I wasn't Kenny, obviously. I sat in my car. But I believe that these mundane little things that we think are not important, they're just part of what we have to do to function and keep life moving, are important to God. We need to be reminded that our daily work is part of a larger mission. And that my small and ordinary days matter to that kingdom mission. Whatever God has assigned me, it's here. My address is Winchester, Ohio, in the middle of fields. That's my assignment. And that is part of his kingdom plan. How that will play out, I don't know. Will it be anything major and fancy and important? It doesn't seem as if, I'm not the missionary stranded away from my husband in the Philippines because he was in the States when all this took place. I'm not Gwen Ashcraft, missionaries to Thailand now. They were in Mexico, who has learned how many different languages, adjusted to how many different cultures. That's not what God's asked me to do. But he has asked me to take care and manage and steward my home and my dishes and my table and my bed. And that is part of his kingdom plan for me. Ordinary is not ordinary because common gives birth to the uncommon. Ordinary paves the way for extraordinary. What that extraordinary will mean, I don't know. Sometimes I don't think we'll see what we've done for the kingdom until we get to heaven. And when we get there, I wonder if we'll be like, oh, I should have done that better. I should have put my heart into it. In Zechariah chapter 4, I'm going to read these other verses to you. Verse 8. I'm going to read verse 8, 9, and 10. It says, moreover, the word of the Lord came unto me, saying, the hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house. His hands shall also finish it. And thou shalt know that the Lord of hosts hath sent me unto you. This is the question. For who hath despised the day of small things? For they shall rejoice and shall see the plummet in the hand of Zerubbabel with those 7. They are the eyes of the Lord which run to and fro through the whole earth. Oops. Said I needed to reconnect. Do you see how many times in that top verse 9, where it talks about he took his hands and laid the foundation, he took his hands and finished the work? He didn't have to do the menial, mundane things. He could have had somebody below him do it, but he didn't. He did it himself. He did the work. And look what God said through Zechariah. He said, who hath despised the day of small things? For the eyes of the Lord go to and fro through the whole earth. I don't think that just means that his eyes go from east to west, from China to the United States, and sees all of that. I believe it also encompasses all of time. It wasn't just during the time of Zerubbabel. God's eyes see me in Winchester. He sees you in Hillsborough or Lynchburg or Buford or wherever we live. God sees it. And the little things are not little things. Small things are ultimately the big things. But let me encourage you with the thought that the little things we do, everything, are part of the kingdom work. And it is important to God, and he sees. But we must first accept the circumstances that we find ourselves in and realize that this is a place of God's kingdom blessing. Right in my home, at my little table, I want God to do a work in my heart because I need it. And I need him. I want him in my family's life. But the work that I do when I fixed my spaghetti last night for dinner, or when I wipe this table off for the 100th time, is part of God's kingdom work that he's called me to. And God has yet to bless anyone except where they actually are. I'm going to say that again. God has yet to bless anyone except where they actually are. Right where you are is where God intends to bless you, if we will stay faithful and keep our heart where it should be. I was thinking even too of David. God didn't choose any of David's brothers to be king. He chose David, who was out with the sheep doing the menial work, the lowest of the low. But God saw him and saw his faithfulness. And what was that verse that says in Samuel, that God doesn't look on the outward appearance, but God sees the heart? So right now, in these days of nothing but monotony and mundane, God sees it, and God sees my work, my kingdom work. He sees me folding my laundry. He's going to see me going to Christy and Dave's laundromat in Hillsborough today to wash the 600 pounds of wet towels that I have, because I can't get my washer fixed till tomorrow at the earliest. He sees that. And it's not that he watches my work, whether my house is spotless or not. It's that he watches my heart. And what my heart, the service that my heart is doing. How I spend this ordinary day in Christ is how I will spend my Christian life. It's easy for us to, not all of us, but it's easy to be the one that stands up in church and sings, or to show up for choir practice, or to post those great spiritual words on Facebook or Instagram. All that stuff is easy. That's the easy stuff. The hard part is when it comes to the mundane. The hard part is keeping my heart right with inside these four walls that I live in, and doing these mundane, monotonous, menial jobs with a heart and service to him. I read years ago that any flat surface can be an altar. So whether it's my table that I sit on, whether it's my counter that I'm fixing my dinner on, whether it's my washer and dryer downstairs that I'm folding my t-shirts on, that each one of those places are an altar to my God. And what I'm offering up, whether it be simple spaghetti and garlic bread, or folding another pair of socks, or making cookies, which is something I do enjoy to do, whatever that is an offering on an altar to God. And he pays attention to those small things. If he says in Zechariah, who hath despised the day of small things, for his eyes go to and fro everywhere, he sees them. So I want to encourage you, make your bed, do the dishes, kneel by that bed in the morning after you make it. Straighten your pillows on the couch if you have them, or if your kids aren't laying on them, got them all messed up, right? For God sees every mundane act that we do. But he's not looking at the way it appears. He's looking at our heart and the way we offer it to him. So let's do it this week. My challenge to you is to do it with intentionality. Do it with your heart. Do it. Don't just endure it. Do it. I teach piano. I have a few students, and when we work on songs and they're so close to performance quality, they've got it all down. I'll be like, okay, now play it with your heart. You've got the notes, you've got the timing, you've got all that, but you're missing one thing, and that's your heart. And it will make it sound different even if you play the same notes. So what we do this week, that's my challenge. Make your bed, do your dishes, but do it with all your heart. And do it as an offering. Use every flat surface in your home. If it's the floor, yet again, that you have to sweep, do it with a sacrifice and a heart, offering it to the Lord. Look, Kayla, you really think listen, I don't know if they're the best, but I love them, and I eat too many of them. So, thanks you guys for coming. I hope it encourages you. I try not to cry. I don't know why I do, but I think it's because it's what I need, and I need to be reminded of it. And the little things are important, and he sees them. I had it written down. Luke 16:10 says, he that is faithful in that which is least is faithful in that which is much. So, let's not be impressed with the Pinterest houses. Let's be impressed with hearts and houses where everything that is done in service to the Lord. Okay? And let me leave you with one thought. I am the one. This is one of my favorite sayings lately. I am the one in whom Christ dwells and delights. I live in the unshakable kingdom of God. His kingdom is not in trouble. So neither am I. And I miss all you guys. I see your names on there. So make your bed. Do the dishes. All right? Next week, we'll check on that. Don't forget. Keep praying. Morning, midday, and evening. Get on your knees. And keep serving him. Realize that this is the kingdom work. This is the place of his blessing right here. Okay? Love you guys. Come back next week. Enjoy this week. Bye.